Mm-hmm.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever and whenever you are, and welcome to Take the Points.
A true underdog podcast.
How you guys doing?
The boys are back.
Back in
Boys
town.
are back.
No more all by myself. The crew is back.
Yeah.
It is so good to see
One
you
team,
both.
one dream.
It is, my back is sore from carrying the pod over the last 2 weeks. Damn it.
Dude, you did.
I'm happy
Yes.
to have you guys back. You guys both took vacation at the same time. Let's start there. How were the
Yep.
trips? Did we enjoy ourselves? Are we tired? Are we relaxed? How are we feeling coming back from 2 vacations for you both?
I feel good. I didn't think it was. I went to Disney World with kids, and it was hectic, fun, and stressful all at the same time.
All at
so
the
yeah,
same
I
time?
don't feel recharged
Okay.
in any way. I actually probably feel a little bit run down, but
Ooh, it's tough.
tanned.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
good.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wilson,
I would
how are
say
you feeling?
similarly. Steve sent a text in our group chat that I just laughed out loud when you said that, Steve. The description of the vacation was so spot on for how my experience was as well. You were like, kids up early, staying up late, temper tantrums, sit down dinners are brutal, but overall it was a blast. Like
Yeah.
that's exactly spot on. We had 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. every morning, and a lot of tears for no reason, seemingly to
Mhm.
me. But so
Just
many,
because.
just because. But the water slides at Atlantis in the Bahamas are freaking lit. I was
Oh,
flying down
damn.
those things like I was a kid, just loving it.
Wait, Wilson.
I can picture your wife just being like, "Wilson, we gotta go." Like,
No,
you being like the little kid in that situation, where like,
Literally.
just one more, and like running
She's
away
like,
from her.
I'm going back to the room with Milo. Like, are you going one more time? And I was like, I gotta go one more time. Literally, that happened.
Yeah, you are 12, and I love it.
I know.
Steve just opened a can of margarita. If you didn't hear that,
Yes,
all the way in
brought to you
Ohio,
by,
based on how loud that was. Jeez,
sorry,
I
know.
It was like a Coors Light commercial. The way that opened up,
It was good.
Yeah, you know how
That
we
was
crack
great.
them here. You
No, I
gotta
know.
once you hear that crack, man, it's time.
I know. Here's the real
brought to you by
question:
our friends at Canned Margaritas.
did you guys make it back for the Masters? The conclusion of the Masters. Were you both back, sitting in your seats on Sunday?
I got a great story about this.
All right, let's hear it.
So I'm watching on the live TV on the plane because we're
Yep.
flying home. I'm watching the final round. Rory is literally about to hit the putt to try to win it outright before the playoff. And the announcements, the plane's like just taken off, and the announcements come up for like the safety, like the buckling in and all that. Literally at the moment that he's in his backswing, about to hit the putt, and I missed it for the stupid safety announcements from Delta.
Hmm.
And I
It's
come
tough.
back and find out they're about to do the playoff, so I got to watch that, which was
Ugh.
amazing.
We got to talk about one when you're on Delta or an airplane and they come on and interrupt. I'd like when they got to know to like release the talking thing when you're taking breaks, so it doesn't just continue. You know what I mean?
That happened
So
as
nothing
well.
really to do with your story other than the fact that you paused, but that was just me to be able to go off on a tangent on people talking way too much on the Delta. Like, we'll have Coke products available today and cookies. Pause.
Yeah.
We still can't see anything. Can we just
Yes.
maybe release the
Like
button?
no one cares. Yeah,
Yeah.
no one cares. Like Coke or Pepsi. Like
Yeah.
I have anxiety on this flight. Like it doesn't matter.
Please let me watch this movie,
Yes.
please. I only have an hour on this flight.
I
Wilson,
was
so did you
pissed.
how'd you find out? Then did you, like obviously the TV kicked back on and
It
then you
kicked
saw
back
that
on,
you
and
won,
I
yeah.
saw it. I was able to watch the replay of him missing that putt, which was
Yeah.
so Rory. It was just literally what he does.
Yes.
And then just the epic shot, the approach shot that he
Yeah.
had in that playoff.
In the playoff
was
hole? Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, it was awesome.
I know-
was so happy for him.
I know we're going to talk Pistons, but one thing I was thinking about on the because we'll probably have mostly Pistons talk with the playoffs starting, but I think this Masters conversation is incredible. Like, I think I read it was the most viewed Masters since the Tiger Masters when
Yeah.
Tiger won, obviously, which Tiger draws everybody in. But man, Rory just like the way he was emotional after he won, like I don't know what it is. Maybe it's getting older. I felt this way like when Tiger won too, but like seeing the relief on his face when he won, like those tears, like that's like authentic, like sports at its finest. And I was just like, Rory's had an up and down, I feel like, kind of career with the public, right? And especially he's going up against Bryson DeChambeau. There's the live, non-live thing going on, right? I think he said Bryson DeChambeau said Rory didn't even talk to him the whole round. He didn't say one fucking word to him the entire round. Like,
except for he did ask him to move his marker. I saw at one point.
But good though, dude. Like there's I think there's too much. Maybe this is a little tangent too, but like I think there's too much of that like camaraderie between like opponents in sports. Like this dude's in your way to achieve your goal. Like step on his throat. Don't talk to him. Don't be his friend. Be his buddy after. Right. But like when it's going down, I love that about it. Yeah. And it worked because Rory, so I didn't get to watch hardly any of it because we were on a TV embargo at our house after the vacation, and the amount of TV that we watched in our hotel room, like between getting ready in this tiny ass room. So we were on TV embargo. So I just kind of followed along on my phone, but Rory had this one coming, and it really just kind of had the looks of another implosion at some point, and then he pulled it together. So the emotion at the end, man, that's what's great about sports. You can't script that. Like that only comes like in real
so good
moments.
It was so good. I was listening to the Bill Simmons podcast. I'm a big Bill Simmons fan, and he was talking about. I thought it was a great point in golf. If you think about all of their sports, he was talking about with Ryan Russillo this week how. Like golf is the one where like it's such a just challenging sport when you think about the fact that you have to be dialed in, but you're also like incredibly jacked at the same time. Like you have to control all that emotion into like one perfect swing. Where you think about like football and everyone's like pumping up each other before the game starts, right? And you're like, I'm just going to go have this like physical attack on other people. Mm-hmm. Like golf is so hard because it's almost like the more amped that you get, like the more it's going to throw you off. So you have to control all these emotions. That's why I think golf is one of the hardest sports that exist because of that. It's just such an oddity. You don't get that in all sport, right? You can kind of carry that physical momentum. Golf is, you overswing. I mean, Steve, how many times have we been golfing that happens,
you're
right?
Also, you're also 6 beers deep.
Right.
So, that's like that adds a different layer of complexity to it as well, right?
I would love to see those players' scores from the Masters, take the exact scoreboard as it is, and then add 6 beers to each of those guys and see what they do.
Well, you can. Now we're way off course here already, but we play that with our buddies sometimes. Like if you get for every beer you drink, you get a stroke off your score.
Oh wow!
Right,
that's
you
very
drink
generous.
10, but then again, you drink 10 beers, and now like. Where's the point of diminishing returns?
Oh, definitely there is.
So like, where's that sweet spot? So I would love to see like a pro tournament in that style.
It's like a fine line of like feeling loose, because like I feel like this is the
Rory
thing,
on 4 beers would be like that would be so much fun to watch.
Because you're just like free swinging it, that you're just letting it fly, man. Like there's not.
Like he'd still shoot a 68. But
oh my
probably
God, for
sure,
it'd
be like a 64 because he drank 4 beers and he'd be like that Irish accent be like real thick.
Yeah,
but
like hard liquor.
Just to go back to like a serious note, the career Grand Slam, I think that emotion that you mentioned that he had there, Robbie, was like, I think that was weighing on him so much for 11 years.
For sure,
like he was just the 5th person in history to ever do that, which is insane.
Yeah.
Nobody's done it since Tiger 25 years ago. So that's like actually a huge moment for the sport of golf.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Nobody had done it before Tiger for 30 years or something?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a momentous occasion, and he definitely felt the release of that pressure, which was really cool. So I'm very stoked for him.
It felt authentic. I think that's why I loved it. It felt like it was real. And like when you saw him drop to the ground, it was just that moment of like, you carry so much weight. I think I've talked about this on here before too. It's like the psychology of sport, where you go from the fact where winning becomes a moment of joy versus where winning becomes a moment of relief, and how different that is. And like when you're the underdog and you're just like excited, it's like the Pistons in the playoff this year, right? They got nothing to lose. Like if they win, like it's house money. Whereas like when now you're the one being pressured and you're the one that's favored to win. Now when you win, you don't necessarily feel this great accomplishment. You feel satisfied that you didn't let yourself down. I feel like he had that, where he knew he was favored. He was up, 3 shots at one point in that round, and then double bogeys to start the round. I mean, just everything that could have gone wrong went wrong, and he still pulled it out. That makes it even more special.
Yeah, and then the last thing I'll say about that is like Rory he's like our age, and so I've been watching him since I started to care about golf and just feel like this is like a guy like just like me, right. So to except for insanely better at golf. So
just a little better.
It's like the guy that I, in my young adult years, like have grown up watching. So it's cool to see him do that.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was fun. It's also crazy when you think a guy like him. I talk about this all the time in football, where it's like, oh, he's nearing the end of his career. The guy's like 36, and you're like,
he's my
age. Same age.
I'm like, I got, he's getting up there. In this case, he's younger than me, and I'm like, I still got a lot of years of grinding here ahead of me.
Honey, I think you know what? I'm getting old. I think it's time I call it a career.
Yeah, right. I'll hang it up.
Call it at 38.
Dude, cannot even imagine.
Anyways, so we got to talk some Pistons, boys, huh? How are we? Playoffs are here. Seeding got locked up, right? So Pistons taking on the Knicks. It was a little bit shaky there at the end, kind of who they were going to end up playing.
We wanted
down
the
the
Knicks.
Stretch. Yeah, I agree.
I do too.
We literally intentionally lost that second to last game of the season when it still was up in the air when we had the back-to-back with Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I was in the casino at Atlantis. There's a sports book there.
Of course you were, by the way.
You failed to mention that.
You were.
Yeah, we failed to mention that.
It's 4 a.m. I'm in the casino at Atlantis.
Yeah.
I have no idea where my family's at.
No, I knew exactly where they were
at. I'm out
$6,000. It was like, Milo's asleep by 8 o'clock, so which is still late for him, but he's asleep at 8 o'clock. And so it's like Megs wants to go to sleep too, and I'm encouraging her, hey, go out, go to the bar, like go have a drink. Like we have to do that separately at night because one of us has to stay in the room with Milo.
Yeah.
But she's like, no, I don't want to. I'm going to sleep. So I'm like, okay, then I'm going to the freaking casino. So I was there most nights. I'm not gonna lie, but I was in the sports book, and I'm like, dude, I'm gonna obviously that day, the second to last game of the season. I'm like, we're gonna intentionally lose this game. It's at home. We want the fans to still get their money's worth out of their crazy, insane, inflated ticket prices. So they're gonna play Cade and Duran. They're gonna keep it close, and then when it comes down the stretch, they're gonna want to lose the game. So I bet just straight up money line on the Bucks, which the Pistons were for some reason favored to win that game. But I thought it was a free money bet because we wanted the Knicks, and that was clear. We wanted the Knicks. I think it's been clear for the last couple weeks in the way we've handled.
I did not take that same vibe from that last game, for the second to last game. Well, I mean, you could tell Beasley was pissed at the end of that game when Giannis started shaking on him at the end of the game, which, by the way, was fucking awesome when that happened. Beasley had that coming. Beasley shakes in everyone's face.
Yeah.
And then Giannis blocks his shot and goes over and starts shaking his ass in his face. Beasley was so pissed.
He was, but whether or not we wanted to lose that game, he'd have been pissed when somebody does your move. A former teammate of his, kind of making fun of his move. Like anybody's going to be pissed.
And then Beasley was being a little bitch about it too. He's like, don't. It's like, dude, you do that. Like, if you dish it, you got to be able to take it,
Yeah, but dude, I support him. I support my guy.
Oh yeah,
like, dude. Yeah, I would have been so pissed too if somebody was like, if I had a signature move and then somebody does it on me after they block my shot, I would lose my mind.
I respect it, Steve. To your point earlier about having the bringing a little bit of the dog back in the game, like this Knicks Pistons series is going to be crazy. Had they played the Pacers, I think there would have been an all-out brawl. Like there would have been Malice at the Palace or whatever we call it at LCA round 2.
Yeah.
Had they played the Pacers.
We also just don't match up well with the Pacers.
Yeah.
And we've kind of as we saw, what was that, 10 days ago or less, when we played the Knicks, our last matchup with them in the season, man, we played them really well. I really like the way that we stack up with them defensively. We shut as much as you can shut down Brunson, we've done that to him this year. Mikal Bridges was also not a huge factor against us. I think it's going to come down to, can their other guys step up, and Jalen Brunson's not going to beat us on his own. So they're going to need
pretty good.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's
he's
a
good.
phenomenal player. But we got a lot of guys that can defend him because he's an undersized guard. We have a few.
Yeah, we got a lot of length on him.
Yeah, but we could put Asar on him. We could put Ron Holland on him. Two guards that have length and are great defensively. We could put Cade on him, who's way bigger than him.
Mm-hmm.
We match up pretty well with them. So I think that's why we wanted the Knicks. It's just our defensive matchups look good.
Yeah, I think it's going to bode well for us too. We before we started recording, we talked about it. I think the Pistons can win this series, and I think they'll win it in 6. And listen, to get Cade and the Pistons on the main stage, right? That's our strip club terminology for you, right? Get them off the side stage, get them on the main stage. Madison Square Garden playoffs, Cade coming out party, right? Drop a 50 burger in MSG, steal 1, come back to Detroit with a series tied, and then take 2. That's totally a direction I think this series can go. This market's hot for playoffs. We're dying for a good Pistons run, like we were for a good Lions run. It's going to be exciting at LCA. And I think we can rip this series off from them and go to the next round. So it'll be interesting to see how Cade steps up in the playoffs. None of these guys have experience, so it's a real good test and a real good showcase for them.
Yeah, I got some thoughts here. I got some bold statements for the series that I want your feedback on.
Damn.
First of all, Wilson, I want to comment too real quick because everyone's been talking about this too. Pistons went 3-1 versus the Knicks.
Yeah. 3
of those games, Knicks were not at full go in that. The one great game that they had was, I think it was an ESPN game. It was that game where Beasley hit those back-to-back threes at the end of the game to put him ahead, which was that game. I was just watching highlights earlier. That game was awesome. But even last week or whatever, I think they sat Anunoby and Hart were both out for that game. So Knicks were not at full go, which is it's more just like an asterisk on that game. But I agree with you. I still think we match up great with them. What I think is kind of crazy when you look at this Knicks series is this is like the Cade versus Brunson argument is it's happening right now across. You listen to any NBA pod, any NBA topic, this is going to be the question in the series. My bold statement for this series is I think Cade is the best player in the series, by far. I think he's the most talented player in the series. If you
you could question that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you could if you look at the
Brunson's
stats.
Brunson's solid.
I know you don't want to go to the stats, Wilson, but you have to look at them. Cade and
Brunson's
Brunson.
a stud.
Yeah, Cade and Brunson just running through the stats. Cade and Brunson, 28.3 points a game for Cade, 28.9 for Brunson. So they're damn near dead even. Cade's got 8.1 assists, 7.5 assists for Brunson. Cade's got 5.3 rebounds a game, and Brunson's got 3.3. They're damn near dead even. I think what the difference is here is Brunson's done it in the playoffs. He's averages 30 points in the playoffs and 8 assists. So he's played really well in the playoffs. But I just still think Cade's versatility as just a better sized guard is what I think favors him over Brunson, in my opinion. We were talking earlier, just some buddies texting, if you could start a team, would you choose Jalen Brunson or Cade Cunningham of who you would want to start a team with? It's a good debate. I could see going both ways on it. We just haven't seen playoff Cade. We've seen playoff Brunson, 30 points a game, a plus minus of 40. So he has been a stud in the playoffs. But anyway, so that's my bold statement. Are you guys I feel like you're both probably in agreement with that based on your reaction, but yeah.
I can tell you why. I mean, defensively, Brunson's a liability because of his size.
Yeah.
He's not like old Steph Curry where, you're going to target him every play. But in the NBA, you can choose your matchup. You can, you can get the ball in the player's hand that you want pretty much every possession, and you can set screens and try to get the switch and choose your matchup. So Brunson is a guy that you would target for that. Just to be honest, he's a guy you would target for that. Cade is not. Cade, if you look at their matchup or their stats, comparatively, like you just did, I mean, in a blocks perspective, Cade has 50 more than Brunson because he's actually a defensive player. You can match him up against a guy and he can get a stop. And he's gotten some big stops at the end of games in crunch times this season. Brunson's never going to do that. So if you look at both sides of the ball, sure, they're offensively very similar on stats, but defensively, you got one that's a liability and one that's a big guard that you can put on a guy like Brunson and get some good defensive outcome from it. So I think it's Cade all the way as the best player in the series, and I would actually say that even though Brunson's a tremendous player, the more important player for the Knicks is going to be Karl Anthony Towns in this series, just because of where
he's a bitch.
Yeah, I know, but he is kind of killed
This is
us.
the can of margarita talking. He's a bitch. He's a soft ass bitch.
He is, but he's killed us this year. And Pistons
killed everybody this year.
But he's soft.
We struggle against bigs. We struggle against bigs.
He's second in the NBA in rebounds per game, so I wouldn't say
that's
he's
fine.
soft,
but I think he's a soft. I think he's a soft player. I think he's a soft player.
On what? Based on what?
Based on he had to get Jimmy Butler traded because he clowned him in practice all the time.
Okay.
Mentally soft.
Mentally soft. He's a mentally soft player, and I think that's not what the Pistons are. This is a team that grinds for every win. They're a tough team. They're tough up front. I think they're going to bully him around a little bit, especially if you start to get Duren and Stu to switch off. Both those guys can defend him. They're gonna get in Towns' head, and I think he's going to be a lot less impact. He's still going to get Towns is going to get his boards, he's going to get his points, he's going to shoot the three. He's a good player. I just don't think he has the mental capacity to put the weight on his back because of what Wilson mentioned in terms of, we're going to be going after Brunson pretty hard too on the defensive side.
Well, in my opinion, and this is maybe my bold statement of the day, and I never thought I would be saying this because I've clowned on him. Isaiah Stewart is a top 3 or 4 important player for us in this series, which is because of what you were just saying, Steve. He needs to get in Cat's head. He needs to shut him down a little better than we have all year because he is our best rim protector, even though Jalen Duren is 4 inches taller than him.
Yeah.
Isaiah Stewart is he's a dog, and that's what he does. Is he pushes guys around and he gets in their head, and he has to do that to Cat this series. So he's going to be more important than he normally is for us. He's always he's there in the mix, but he's a key player for us in this series.
Yeah, he's at the second half of the year, I think, too. He's definitely shown he's thrived in that role, right? Of just being that off the bench, high impact player in terms of the defensive side. And we're going to need him more than ever in the playoffs, and I think he's going to step up.
Yeah, because Jalen Duren is making silly fouls. He's out of position. He doesn't do well with big guys who like to get outside a little bit and stretch the floor. He's not,
which is where Towns will kill you, because that's what
that's what I mean. Towns will get his.
That's the part of that. That's the part of Towns' game that I think is underrated. Yeah, second in the NBA in rebounds, second on the team in scoring for the Knicks. He shoots 42% from the outside, which means, again, if and this is, I think the Knicks are actually going to be in a similar position as the Pistons are going to be defensively, where if you look where Cade has been really successful in the Knicks, it's been the pick and roll, because I was just reading about this earlier. Towns has the way that Thibodeau plays historically is he kind of drops Towns down off of those pick and rolls, which gives Cade the option of, he can either shoot, or he can, obviously, if he can beat the defender off the dribble, he's got the Towns moving back, where you may have to see him step up on some of those pick and rolls just to slow Cade down. The hope is there maybe you create something over the top. I think the same goes for the Pistons, right? Where Brunson, let's say Town has a screen up top, you got Duren on him, he goes around his defender, Asar's still chasing, Duren jumps out to stop him. That's where a guy like Towns is going to kill you, where the Pistons don't necessarily have that with the pick and pop. Obviously, Beef Stew can hit an occasional three, but Duren's not shooting that shot, which is where it's more the lob toward the basket is where you've seen so much success with that with Cade. It's not, you know what I mean, the typical Draymond pick and screen or pick and roll where then you kind of hit him at the top. But I think that's going to be a key part of the series is how does Thibodeau defend off that pick and roll, knowing that's been a huge, huge thing for the Pistons. I think it's going to go the other way for the Pistons too. That's where a Stu that's maybe a little bit more athletic and can get out there and defend on the perimeter versus Duran's just going to be slower on the recovery. So that's where I think they're both going to matter because they're both different players. Duran and Stu are such different defenders. You know what I mean?
Robbie, I think that was, and I don't mean this in a patronizing way, in any way. That was like the most insightful basketball thing I've ever heard you say. Like,
I don't have anything. I don't have a rebuttal at all. No, I'm just like, like that all checks out.
100%, so true. Very good. Very good.
There was a lot of fun.
I don't know how to take that. Thanks.
Take it well because I was totally aligned with Wilson. I was like, I don't really have anything else to say to that because like I agree 100%.
It was just great. Yeah. It was like you were. It's like you were given the player perspective there.
It's like you prepared for this conversation.
I spent about 2 hours before this podcast getting ready for this.
That was really good.
Yeah, we can
that's
tell.
Probably why. Hence my bold statements that I still want to share. Yeah. But go ahead.
Oh, that's right. That was what bold statement number one.
So that was one. Was that Cade is the best player in the series? Here's my second statement is the biggest X factor in this series is the Pistons bench because I think it is a massive, massive advantage over the Knicks is the Pistons bench because if you look at the Knicks, which is kind of crazy, or the Pistons ranked 6th in the NBA in points per game coming off the bench. A lot of that's from Beasley. We know he's been a stud. The Knicks ranked, I think, second to last in the NBA. In points per game coming off the bench. Their starters, you guys may know this, the Knicks have 3 of the top 10 starters in the NBA that have played the most minutes. They've literally played 3 games worth more of minutes than anybody else in the NBA. They're starters.
Wow.
That's a lot of wear and tear.
Right. And you're like outside of that top 5, which I know is great. Like you got Robinson's coming back from the playoffs. He's obviously going to be healthy. Outside of that, though, they got no depth, which to me it's Beasley, Beef Stew. Sasser could see some minutes in the series. Who knows? Ron Holland. Yeah, I think Fontecchio just has not been good. I'm kind of off of that train, but like those 3 to 4 guys could play a huge role because I think it outweighs anybody that the Knicks can put out there. Foul trouble, think about it, whatever it is. I think the Pistons are just going to run more guys at him. So that's my second bold, or I guess just overall statement is I think the Pistons bench will play a massive X factor, probably the biggest in the series.
Yeah, and I think it's a good point. Like the guy that we're the lowest on in that on our bench is Tech, who was a 40% free throw or a 3-point shooter last year. Yeah, like that's the guy that we have the least confidence in. Like that's I think the depth is like clearly there based on that. Yeah, and the Knicks, they had to give up a lot to get those guys, to get Cat, to get Bridges, right? And that's going to show, and it clearly is based on what you just shared.
Yeah, they got no
right. They have no depth, and that's going to be where if our bench can just keep us in the game until the starters come back, it's going to eventually take its toll.
Yeah, I think obviously like Beasley he plays starters minutes and he's our second leading scorer. On the team. So him off the bench is clutch, but it's almost like not even really bench.
Yeah, it's kind of like a cheat code. Yeah, it like skews the numbers. Yeah.
Totally. But the other guy that you mentioned that I think is so key in this series, and I hated on him for a while, and I did not like this draft pick, but now I've come to love it. Is Ron Holland. I've completely turned around on Ron Holland. He's a great defensive player, and he's also become a really decent offensive threat. He can take it to the basket. He's a great finisher at the rim.
Super athletic. He's going to get his for sure.
And he's gotten even better. He had a game recently where I think he scored like 13 or 15 points, and they were all impactful points. Like they were in big.
What's he 20 years old too?
Like he's a player, man, and his defense and ability to take it to the basket, and just like he's like another energy guy. And when you're playing against a team like you're mentioning that's not super deep, you need those energy guys to wear him out. I think he could be a big factor.
Yep, he's gonna come in. He's gonna come in hot in these playoffs. Yeah, sure. So, but then you worry about coming in too hot, right? You ever be so psyched up for something that you just completely can't even focus because you've been amped up for it for so long. That's what I worry about with guys like that. But
maybe eventually a controlled spurt maybe is where I think we could use them. Yeah.
Yeah, but ultimately, you log a lot of minutes. It's a long series. It's been a long season. He's gonna settle in. All these guys are gonna settle in. It's gonna be really interesting to see, how these guys show up in the playoffs. I'm really excited about it.
Ooh, Steve, you're leading me on my next bold statement.
Hit me.
Okay? The Pistons will shine under the big lights.
Yes.
I think this is going to be
100%.
a national freaking just coming out party for the Pistons. And I just like Cade. You look at our entire team. I think this is Detroit, like telling everybody in the NBA that watches basketball that like
we're here.
This team is built different and we are fucking here. Like I just believe that that's why I wanted the Knicks. Steve, I think they were talking about this.
MSG, ESPN, let's go.
Like,
the stage gets no bigger.
Yeah, Steve, he was talking about this. Like, all right, do you want to be on like TNT with the primetime crew watching the Pistons Knicks, or do you want to be on like Home Shopping Network facing the Pacers that no one gives a shit about either? Like,
right? Yeah.
This is going to be
you're on True TV between 40 episodes of Cops.
Exactly. Like this is
which I fucking love Cops, by the way.
Same.
Great show.
Except Cops has so many commercials. It's like one arrest and then 75 commercials, and I'm like, please, come on, I want to see more.
I know. Then you start picking up the lingo. You're just like, I've got another 1036 over here, and it's like,
oh man.
The domestic gotta clean that up. So.
But how do you guys feel about like Pistons and the big lights, like Cade? Because I feel like the games we've had this year where we've been primetime. I was looking at the record too this year. Like we went 2-0 against the Lakers. Like they've 3-1 against the Knicks. Like we've played pretty well against these big time teams and these, call it probably the biggest NBA kind of arenas, right? That have the most attention to them. I think they're still carrying that. Bickerstaff has a chip on his shoulder, just a natural chip. I feel like everyone carries that. And I think that's going to bode well for a team that doesn't have any pressure. Pistons got no fucking pressure at all.
Literally, like you said earlier, nothing to lose. And wasn't the Heat game where Cade hit the game winner? Was that national too? I think it was.
I think it was. Yeah,
I think it was.
So they step up, and that's what I mean. Like for me, Cade, Madison Square Garden, TNT, primetime games, like this is it. This is where we need to be, and it's going to set us. I think this series, win, lose, or draw, like obviously no draw, but win or lose, this is going to be the series that sets up the direction of this organization for the next 10 years.
And I think especially Cade, like he's averaged 30 plus points per game against the Knicks this season. Obviously 2 of those games at Madison Square Garden. Like he loves it, and he has. If there's anybody on our team that maybe is feeling any pressure, it might be him, because I've even seen like the headlines, like who has the most to prove or the most to lose in this NBA playoffs, and he's listed on there. And he knows that. I don't think that's going to get to him though, because if you just look at the way he plays, where nothing beats him up, like we've talked about, like he just plays his game, plays at his speed, and he's confident in it. That's why he likes the big stage, because that doesn't rattle him. Just like he can't get sped up. His mind doesn't get rattled by this kind of stuff.
Very composed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I think we have the perfect combination of like guys like that who have that confidence, and veterans who have been there, like Schroeder, like Tobias, like Tim Hardaway.
Yeah, they've been there.
And even Malik Beasley's been in the playoffs. Like we have the combination of guys who have been there versus like also guys who are just too young to even know who that they should be more nervous. Like 20-year-old guys, like 20 to 23-year-old guys, like who don't even realize yet where they're at. Like thinking about Jalen Duren, what is he, 21, 22 years old?
Yeah, Ron Holland,
Asar, 21 years old. Like they don't even know the pressure that they should feel, but they don't feel it because they're kids. Like,
right.
I think we have a great combination of that.
So
I'm so pumped for this. I can't
series. Freaking wait.
Like I honestly cannot wait. Saturday is like appointment viewing.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think what's interesting is these teams are so damn similar. Like if you look at their net ratings too, like you're talking 2 teams that are both ranked within the top 12 in defensive efficiency, excuse me. And then same on the offensive side. Like I think the Knicks ranked 8th overall in net rating. If you pay attention to all the net rating, Pistons were 12th. Like that's these teams are so damn similar. It's like a 2-point differential, which is why they played such great games this year, well, at least when they were at full strength. But again, that's where I think that bench comes in. And I do think, moving to my next bold statement, is one guy that I think is maybe one of the, I know I talked about the biggest X factor in the series could be the Pistons bench. I think one guy that could play a massive role for the Pistons, and you just said as a veteran guy, is Tobias Harris.
Sure.
I think when he was out these last, 7-8 games or toward the end of the year when he missed, the team was different without him, right? He's a decent defender. He can make that mid 10 to 12 foot jump shot, right? They go a lot of ISO with him low on the post when he's matched up against a smaller guy. I think he is, yes, we know Beasley's going to get his, he's going to jack up threes. Hardaway's going to be there, Duran, but it's Cade and Tobias to me plays a whole role. If he's hitting that, 13 to 17 to 20 points a game in this series, that is a major, major factor for the Pistons, because he's that steady veteran that just has been there. He's done it. He doesn't get rattled in the moment. He's not going to do anything too crazy, not heavy turnover prone guy, and he's a decent defender, which I think they're going to need in this series. So I think Tobias might be my biggest X factor from a player perspective on the Pistons, knowing he's coming off the Achilles tendonitis or whatever he had going on. Do you guys agree, or any other players you think for the Pistons side that you think are going to be an X factor?
I think Wilson hit it with, I think Stewart, is just his defensive presence. He's all defense type player. I think he's going to have an impact. And I think this is the type of environment that Stewart thrives in, and he lives for. So I'm excited to see Beef Stew in under the big lights too. And it's not going to show on the stat sheet, but it's going to show in the game.
Yeah, I agree there. And then I think, you're so right, Robbie, that Tobias is going to be, it's going to be really important that he can get going, especially get him in the mid range or in the post against a smaller defender, because he does end up playing a lot of those non-Cade minutes. Yeah. And we need him to be a go-to option during that time, and Tim Hardaway, and also Schroeder's got to be out there running the show. I initially thought we were going to play them together a lot more when we got him, but he's kind of running the show when Cade's out. There's a lot. I mean, we really need all of our guys to be at the top of their game if we want to win this series. But that's what I think our advantage is that we have a lot of guys who could, Tim Hardaway could step up.
Right.
He was in the finals last year on a team where he ended up averaging 17 points per game for that.
And when Cade was out, he was dropping 30.
Yeah,
with
he can
ease.
Do that. He can do it.
He can fill it.
Obviously Malik can get hot. Tobias can go off and get you 20 points, really any game. Schroeder's been there and done that. And when you look at his career and what he's averaged on the scoring front, he's always a double-digit scorer, and he's been on good teams too.
And he's a great defender. He's pesky.
Yes.
You know who he reminds me of, actually? He reminds me of one of my favorite Pistons of all time, Lindsey Hunter.
Yes.
The way that he gives those guards no room when they walk up he is all over them as soon as they cross half court. He's on them like glue. And that reminds me of that. Remember that Lindsey Hunter, Mike James tandem we used to have?
Yes.
Where
Dude, I love that back in the day.
Those two guys would come off the bench and play, 12
eat you alive.
You'd be dead.
Just eat you alive on defense.
And we need to do that. We need to have Ron Holland come off the bench and do that. We need Schroeder to be doing that. Yeah. Obviously, Asar is going to be doing that, but he's another guy who's an X factor on offense too. He's had games he scored 15 plus points, and he was not doing that last year consistently he has been this year. We just have so many options. Even though we don't have a star-studded cast, we have a lot of guys who can get you some points. And so that's where I feel
love that
we have a lot of opportunity here if just a couple of those guys get going. But Tobias is definitely one of the main guys that we need.
It's funny, Wilson, you say it we don't have a star-studded cast. It's like this team was built to pay homage to the Pistons teams of the past.
Yeah.
Right? The going to work Pistons, the bad boys. You see flashes of those identities in this new like in this current team, except now you have an all NBA caliber player in Cade. And that's what I think those teams in the past have really sorely lacked. And that's, I think, what makes me really excited about it too, is like we have the intangibles. We have this defense first, chip on our shoulder, Pistons basketball type team.
Yes.
And a stud player in Cade. That's all of this combined, ready to shine in the big stage. And I think we can, it's going to be a tough series. I'm not saying we're going to be, I think we will.
Yeah.
But we could easily drop this series.
For sure.
So,
for sure.
The Knicks are a good team. We got to give them the credit, but we could absolutely shock the world a little bit here and move to the second round.
Love that. Wilson, you just teed me up to my last point, and then I'll let you comment on this, because Steve, that was just beautiful, guys. It's like you looked at the show sheet, but you didn't. I didn't. This is the last big statement I have for the series. I think the Knicks have more talent. I think the Pistons are a better team. I think if you look player to player, I think the Knicks are clearly top heavy and have more talent, but I think the Pistons are a better team, and that's ultimately what I think will prevail in this series. And Steve, it's exactly what you just said. There's something about this team. They got that Tigers feel of last year. There's something similar there. So that's the last of my bold statements. But Wilson, go ahead.
I agree.
I was going to say that I think I agree partway. I think that the Knicks definitely have more talent up at the top. You look at their top few guys, Brunson, Cat, Bridges, we don't have a top three that's going to match those guys.
Nope.
But to your point on the Pistons being a better team, I think we can be a better team.
Fair.
I think it just depends on who shows up. We could have Tim Hardaway shoot 30% from three, Malik Beasley come back down to earth, and he just had a historic 3-point shooting year. If he's not doing that, and if Tim Hardaway's not hitting like he can, we have no chance. But so we can be a better team, but it's gonna require some of these guys who have done it before, have done it throughout the year to consistently do it.
That's a great rephrase, Wilson. It would probably be the Knicks have better talent. The Pistons have the potential to be the better team, if ever.
Yes.
Because Beasley too, if you've been watching closely, Beasley definitely has been in a bit of a rut. His 3-point percentage has dropped. God bless you.
Thank you.
He has not been taking he's still been taking as many shots. His points have been down. You wonder how much of that Cade was out. He was carrying more of the load.
Yeah.
Same with Tobias. He's going to win Sixth Man of the Year, I would think, at this point, based on just the season that he had. If you look at, actually, I was looking this up earlier, where our lineup is the best, it's actually with Beasley and Cade on the floor at the same time. That's actually, even though they don't start, but that's ultimately where they'll probably end up finishing this game. You'll bring in Asar and the Tobias defensive swaps at the end of the games, but those two on the floor together, just because it gives more shooting. If you have him, Hardaway, Tobias, even if you go smaller and you just have a Duran or Stu out there, that's where I think, especially in this series, there's going to be so much attention on Cade. These other guys are going to have to step up. I think Cade can get his, because the Pistons may take the same approach with Brunson. You want to score 30, score your 30. We're going to shut down Towns, or we're going to shut down these other guys. It sounds like elementary level defense, but Thibodeau is a great defensive minded coach. This is what he does. He's got a week to prep for them. Who knows what they're going to do? They may just let him go, and he's going to say, Beasley, Asar, Tobias, Hardaway, you guys are going to have to beat us. Cade's not.
That's where we can be exposed.
Right.
Yeah, but I think Cade is harder to do that too, just to be honest.
Yeah.
Because he's bigger, and also I think he is, even though Brunson does this really well, Cade is better at making his whole team better around him than Brunson is. I think he has that edge there where he can get everybody involved in a special way that not a lot of players can. And I don't even want to come close to comparing him to LeBron, but in a way that LeBron or Jokic, doesn't matter, not the same style of player, but those guys just make everybody better around them. Brunson does too, but Cade does it in a way that's really special, just because he makes the right basketball play, and he does it at his speed on his terms in a way that's really rare.
Yeah.
And so I think if you shut down Cade, that's less impactful than if you shut down Brunson all the way,
Yeah.
in my opinion. And just also because we have the depth, we have more guys who could step up if Cade is, if he has to get 15, 20 assists in a game for us to win, he can do that. He's willing to do that, and he will do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's and then we talked about this earlier in the year too. Like the difference in giving Cade competent NBA talent around him has just made such a difference. Where like you look at everybody outside, like we mentioned it, right? If everybody other than Cade has to beat us, we can be exposed, right? Asar Thompson, Ron Holland, we know they're not good shooters. Tobias, aging veteran. But just having guys around him like that can contribute, Cade's giving them the best opportunity to do it. And compared to, Walter Herman or whoever the hell we had on the team last year, like,
bro, you just took it back to 2012.
I'm trying to think of who's the guy we had. It was like Abuke or somebody. We had, we had people.
Joe Harris. Shout out Joe Harris.
Right. We had people that are not in the G League this year.
Tons of those guys,
on the team last year, and like it's like you just give Cade guys that basketball IQ, veterans, dudes that belong in the NBA, and look how much better this team is, and it's just
the coach
to Wilson's
that gives
point.
A shit.
Yeah, and to Wilson's point, it's just Cade makes those guys look a lot better, and none of these guys are stars. They're
just look at Malik Beasley. Look at Malik Beasley as an example. He's never had a year like this in his career where he's been this insane.
Yeah.
And he's played with some great players. I mean,
exactly.
He played in Milwaukee last year with Giannis. Like he's played with good guys around him. It just
he's never played with a guy. He's never been in a position where, and obviously, he played with LeBron, so you can't say he's never played with a player who makes other players great. But he's never been put in a position to have this level of impact, like this opportunity that he's got here, and then be paired with a player like Cade, who give him those open shots. Cade will take all the attention. He'll take a double team, or he'll just draw the another defender over. He'll cause a shift in their whole defense, and then he'll find Malik Beasley on the opposite side, and he'll do that time and time and time again. And that's why Malik Beasley's able to shoot 40, close to 40% this year.
With so good.
How many attempts did he? It was like a crazy amount of attempts.
He has 8 open looks a game. He hit 4 of them. Like that's great. Like that's insane.
And the games where he's struggled too. To your point, I think Steve, you said it. Like where we could get beat is if he's not making those and he goes 1 for 9, which he damn well could. Like if we just flip the opposite of like it's been obviously a lot of positivity of what can go right. There's also a lot that can go wrong. Like the Knicks are talented as fuck. Like if Brunson goes off and Towns goes off with him and they drop, 70 between the two of them, 65 between the two of them, they get another guy's chipping in
and
20.
And Mikal Bridges can go off too. Like you have guys there that can do it.
Yes. And I think it's the defensive side. Like Tom Thibodeau, like what he's been great at historically has been defense. If you look at this year, they've definitely improved the offense. He's kind of let it open up a little bit, which is not typically his style. And they've shown a ton of improvement with it. But he is going to create a game plan defensively, like every coach is, to try and stop Cade. And that's where I do think it is going to be the supporting cast. But there's a scenario where I see, the Knicks, maybe do win this series. Like, I wouldn't shock me if all, the Pistons, like, let's say the Pistons lose in 5 or 6, but the games
wouldn't
are
shock
tight.
Me at all.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a 1-point loss, a 3-point loss, a 2-point loss. Like, that could happen just because of the nature. It's the first. This was the second round. And the Knicks were coming off a tough, first series with having pretty much no depth at all on their bench. Like now I would feel much more confident, but they're getting a week off. There's a lot of time in between games. As much as we talk about the bench piece, I just hope the Pistons can wear them out with just throwing guys at them off the bench, like fresh legs, right? It's kind of like what Izzo did this year with Michigan State. It was like just rotating in 3-4 guys at a fucking time, which you just don't see that in the NBA. And I think that's it's going to be interesting watching the Knicks where they literally are going to have 2-3 guys coming off the bench and that's it. They do not have a deep rotation where you're going to see 4 or 5 sets or subs coming in for the Pistons.
Yep. And I think eventually that'll catch up to them. And it may not be, and it might not even be this series, but eventually that's going to catch up with the Knicks.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's going to be their flaw, their fatal flaw for them.
I agree. Thibodeau's played them so many minutes. Like, this is, especially with Towns, a big guy like that, that's just hard. Like, you got to, like, as they move on in the playoffs, if they were to beat us, like, you take on even more athletic big men, which, not
and then you got to go against Boston next round. Like they're going to run you down.
Yeah, Porzingis, like, it's just, anyways, there's a lot there that's going to pose some challenges, but yeah, we'll see.
I got two things that I wanted to make sure that I mentioned in this. Number one, Pistons haven't won a playoff game since 2008. Okay, 17 years ago was our last win in a playoff game. We've been there a couple times. Yeah, we've been there a few times actually since then, but we've gotten swept every time. So the last time was 2019.
Yep.
So and then
Blake Griffin's one leg.
Yeah. And I actually was looking at the roster for the 2015-2016 team, which was the last time we were there before that. And I was shocked to see, like, that was a decent team. Like, some of the guys, that was when we had just drafted Bruce Brown. We still, that was like the peak for Andre Drummond. Like, we had it was a solid team, but they got swept.
Was that Reggie Jackson too in that team? Was that when
Reggie
we had
Jackson? Yeah,
Luke Kennard maybe, right? That
Luke Kennard was on the team.
Tobias was on the team then too.
That was Tobias' first time
That's
around.
A solid.
Yeah. It's a good squad. But we matched up with LeBron the year that Cleveland won it all in the first round, and got swept.
Yeah, we hung in close all those games.
Yeah, didn't we get feisty one game in there? Didn't it really come down to the end? A couple of those games, if I remember
feel like
right?
every game we lost. Like, I feel like we lost that series by a combined 20 points.
We competed for sure. We competed.
Yeah, tight.
But yeah, I don't think that is on the table in this series. I don't think there's a chance that we walk out of here without at least getting our first playoff win in 17 years. So
that would be a disappointment. I agree.
Huge.
LCA is going to be the roof is going to blow off that place, especially if you take a game in New York.
Yeah.
Imagine that first playoff game at home. That place is going to be bananas. It's not going to be like it was when Blake Griffin was hobbling around and we were doing the ref you suck chants because they were, catering to LeBron. There's going to be a good series. And I think, like, the crowd's going to show up and the home Detroit crowd. This is one of the best sports cities in the country. Like,
really is.
I stand on that. That's a hill I will die on. We're going to show the fuck up this week or next week. And it's gonna be great. Doubt.
Yeah, I should have ended with that thing. But the one other thing I wanted to say was, I just found this super interesting. I don't know if you guys knew this, but there's only been 3 players in NBA history that have made more threes than Malik Beasley did this season.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I wanted to see if you guys could guess who those 3 players are.
Got to be Ray Allen's. Got to be one of them.
Yeah. No.
Steph?
Ray Allen has never made as many threes in a season as Malik Beasley did this year.
Steph
Which is crazy.
Steph or Klay Thompson on there too?
Klay has never made as many threes.
He's one of the best three-point shooters in NBA history, isn't he?
Which is shocking to me. Klay is just below Malik Beasley. The next player after him.
Well, and then Anthony Edwards made more this year.
Anthony Edwards, yep. So there's 2 of them. There's one more.
Reggie?
No, not Reggie. Still in the NBA.
Still in the NBA.
Aging star.
LeBron?
Nicholas Batum.
James Harden.
I should have guessed
all-time loser list.
Literally, only Steph Curry, James Harden, and Anthony Edwards have ever, which was this year, have ever made as many threes as Malik Beasley. Steph Curry this year did not make as many threes as Malik Beasley.
Yeah.
Crazy year for that guy. So
he had an insane year.
Huge shout out.
It's crazy that him and Edwards had the years that they did shooting threes.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Yeah. Number 1 and 2, and they were 1-3 away from each other in the regular season.
That's crazy. Wow. That was a tough list to crack. I was not.
It's tough.
Isn't it funny on those lists though? Sometimes where it's like, I don't want to say these guys go unrecognized for what they do, but it's like how many stats like that exist? It's like some of the Cade stats this year too. Remember they kept flashing it up. He was like, like one of the youngest players under the age of 25 or 26, whatever the hell he is for what he's averaging. There's been like 3 players in NBA history that have averaged that. We just don't. there's like so many of those stats. You
Yeah.
just don't talk about them enough
It's
to
like
realize.
it's like him, LeBron, Luca, and like Oscar Robinson or something.
Yeah.
It's like Wilt,
Yeah,
Cade,
right.
LeBron, and Jordan, and
Yeah.
you're like, what?
It's
Yeah.
like one of these things is not like the others.
Yeah,
Like,
Well,
exactly.
it's still out for a debate there on Cade. You never know because he's so young still. So
Yeah.
you never know what could happen in his career.
But
But
are you guys loving the love that I'm giving Cade? I come full circle.
you have.
But I owned it though. I did not hide from it. I owned what I said,
Yeah,
and
you owned it.
Like when I watch him now, it's funny the methodical ways that I thought before were frustrating because we weren't winning. Now you see it, and it's like that's just the way he plays the game. It's just it's just his overall like vibe that he has and the way that he carries himself on the floor. He's not this Trae Young like bouncing all over the place and dribbling between his legs 55 times. It's just Cade's methodical. He's like a methodical surgeon on the floor.
He doesn't have to kick it out to Buddy Boeheim anymore. It's like you have real NBA talent around you.
Good old Buddy.
If I could just compare the way that he makes me feel when he's playing the game to one player in the NBA, and this is not to say that they
I
are
love
the
to
same.
hear this.
Me
this
too.
is not at all to say that they are the same type
player,
of player.
but yeah.
But the way that it makes me feel is most close to Nikola Jokic. Just methodical, always makes the right play, finds the right guy, takes the shot when it's his, doesn't ever try to do too much.
Kind of like, that quiet killer, like not,
Yes.
Ooh, like
100%.
Very composed, very composed, doesn't get too emotional unless you don't let him step on the line during the free throw.
Which he had maybe his best stat year, I think, of his career. And he has not even, he should be the MVP this year, and he's not, but he should be. And I just feel like I need to say Jokic.
Oh, yeah,
he should be a unanimous MVP this year.
I know.
He carried the Nuggets to.
You don't think he's going to win?
No, it's going to be Shea, and nobody wants Jokic to win.
I don't know.
MVP.
Not that Bill Simmons is some basketball god, but Wilson, I heard him and Ryan Russillo going back and forth on that. They felt like they were leaning for Jokic just because he's literally having the best year of his freaking life.
I know.
He deserves it for sure.
Not going to happen.
He's a unicorn. I mean, he's
oh yeah, he's
considering he's doing it all at 7 feet tall.
And look at that team. They've been falling apart. They fired Mike Malone and their GM with a week to go because they realized like this shit is just not going well, and he's still playing out of his mind. I think they figured like, let's do this before the playoff starts and just hope maybe we can catch lightning in a bottle because you have the best player in the world. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, okay, maybe not best player in the world. Obviously, there's LeBron and things like that. But I would argue
I think he's the best player in the world.
Right now, he's the best player in the world. I think Shea is a close. He's up there, obviously, but he carried the Nuggets through this turmoil. Clearly, they're in turmoil. And they, like you mentioned, they fired their coach. They won 50 games, same amount as the Lakers. The only reason that the Lakers got the third slot is because of the tiebreaker there between them two. And so they still are a home playoff team in the first round, like because of Jokic averaging a triple-double.
He's so good. He's so good.
Averaging a triple-double for the year, his best stats of his career, and he's not going to win MVP. I know.
That's crazy.
Averaging a triple-double as a 7-foot center. Like he's just like it's unheard of.
Yep.
It's crazy. I know we're coming up on an hour, but I got to ask this question. I know we'll get to it in the off season, but like for the Pistons, like the level of excitement I have for the Pistons versus I know I just did the pod last week about the Red Wings and how not excited I am about the Red Wings. It's like it couldn't be more polar opposite. Where like I think the Pistons have a chance this offseason with the cap room that they have and the foundation that they build and the assets that they have. They could make 1 or 2 moves and be a legit like contender
top 3 team in the East for sure.
With, like if you go out, I'm not saying it's going to be Booker, but like because I don't know if Phoenix is going to trade him. But like you go out and get a guard, or
go out
whatever.
And get KD.
Like
you can go out and get KD for probably cheap.
That's such a good question. Would you take KD for? I don't know. He's been a cancer though, man.
Dude, I know. I had the same conversation with my buddy.
Guy. I don't know,
man. I had the
man.
same conversation with my buddy Rich the other day. It's like I want to say no, but at the same time, it's fucking
If it was
KD.
right there, you'd say yeah. Right.
But
Yeah,
if this is KD in 2017, 2018, I'm taking him all day long.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
KD today for the 25-26 season, I don't know. I just feel
that's
like,
dude. It cost you like Marcus Sasser and Tobias Harris.
Yeah. Who would be, if I could ask each of you guys, this is just off the cuff, like one guy you would want the Pistons to go get in realistic terms. Don't throw out LeBron and Luka because
can't be Jokic.
Like, right, or Jokic, whatever. And like we know that SGA, that's not happening. Like a gettable player that you think would take the Pistons over the edge. For me, it's still Devin Booker because I just think what he could do with Cade would be incredible. So Booker's my guy, but do you guys have any thoughts? Again, this is just off the rip, so you may not have it prepared, but I'd say Booker. But he's not. I do think they need some help on the forward side. It's hard to pry a forward loose from these teams. They just don't give up those athletic guys, like a Michael Porter Jr. Like, is it someone like that?
Michael Porter Jr. is a guy would probably be a guy I would think of, especially with the Nuggets being in turmoil and he's got a heavy contract.
Yeah,
they're going to have to shake something up.
Right.
He would be a guy I think would be solid, but I don't love him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if that makes sense. Like, I like him, don't love him, but for lack of thinking of another name off the top of my head.
Yeah. Simone Fontecchio versus him. Like, okay. Not even a question.
Yeah.
Like, and Simone's making 18 mil a year, or whatever the hell he is. So, like, I think there's room for improvement there. But
for me, I think you need a guy like, and I don't think his contract would work for us. Because it's huge, and he just signed this extension. But the kind of player that I would want, and I mentioned this when we were looking at who to draft, and I wanted us to get Buzelis, Franz Wagner, because that is the style that Buzelis plays. But Franz Wagner is exactly what the Pistons need, in my opinion, is a guy who can handle the ball. He could bring it up the court, but he is a big guy. What is he, 6'10", 6'11"? Could shoot the three really well, can create his own offense. He stretches the floor. He's a good defender, too. Like, that is what we truly need. Or we need Jalen Duren to be able to start shooting threes and taking guys off the dribble. Like, we need a big who can do that. I don't think Jalen Duren's going to.
That's happening.
Yeah.
It's not happening. Yeah. So we need to get and then think about our other bigs. We got Stewart, who's like 6'7", and Paul Reed. Like, we need a big.
Yeah, you need a big guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
that's more athletic. Probably more of a modern day big guy.
I like now that we say it, Jaren Jackson Jr. would be good too.
Oh God, that would be awesome.
Wouldn't that be
exactly
huge?
What we need.
And
yes.
I gotta, again, my buddy Rich is a huge Pistons fan. I gotta give him love here, but he always talks about Miles Turner on Indy.
Yeah,
a good stretch five.
True.
To your point,
Turner's a huge dude. The guy's massive.
Yeah, and he can pop a three.
Yeah,
easy.
Got beat with the Isaiah Stewart though.
KT light, but not soft.
Yeah, I think
Stewart,
Go
ahead. I was just going to say Stewart made fun of him for playing with Legos because he posts about the stuff he builds with Legos.
Of course he did.
But that's Stewart's game, dude. He gets in your head, dude. He wants you to think about that when you're playing him.
That's an X factor. I think it's so interesting, and we'll probably get into this next week too when we talk about the Lions, because I think there's a lot of like similarities there. You could even argue the Tigers too. Of like, I think Detroit fans are going to have to get comfortable with the fact that in order to like get better, you're going to have to move some assets that you're used to seeing, right? Like some of these guys that were like, oh, they're going to be here forever, right? Like, for example, you look at a guy like Duren. I'm just saying, like, I know he's a young guy. Like, okay, do you pair a Duren and an Ivy to go get a stud? Like, that's what the cost of doing business is going to be. And that's where I think it's just going to be really fascinating to see how Trajan Langdon maneuvers this offseason, because Duren's going to be due for an extension. Like, are you going to give him a max? Like, probably not, but you're going to have to pay the guy. But he's really he's a limited offensive player, right? He's good on the pick and roll on the lobs, and he's a decent defender, pretty good rim protector. But is that worth a, massive contract versus you can go out and get someone, right, Wilson, like you were saying? Like, could you make that deal and go get Franz? I'm just saying, like, that's what it's going to cost. You're not going to trade, Ivy, Marcus Sasser and Paul Reed for a stud. Like
Yeah,
that's going to be.
You're not trading Bobby Klintman and
yeah,
right. And
but that's exciting to me though. Like the fact that we could be in those conversations, especially in the NBA, like that's cool. Like that'll make for a good offseason.
We have all of our future draft picks. We have a shit ton of seconds that I think you can convert to first. This year's draft. Get somebody. You can be
because we don't have a first this year. We do not have a first this year.
No,
right? We owe it to the Knicks. Or who would Knicks
it's going to Minnesota. Minnesota.
Minnesota's got. Is it them or OKC that has like 37 picks?
OKC has a bunch. Utah has a bunch. San Antonio has a bunch.
It's crazy.
Well, yeah, I think on that point, Duran, I think is unfortunately not going to stick around unless he can develop some sort of shot, because Trajan Langdon and his whole team have got to see like that's what we really need to add to take things to the next level, as well as the fact that Duran, even though he can, he's a big body and he's not a liability on defense per se, but he doesn't necessarily have the best instincts. He jumps at a lot of
fouls
fakes.
A lot too.
Yeah, it just causes him to foul a lot. And I know he's super young and he can grow into that, but we need a guy who's either stretch the floor or play way better defense. So I am not signing him to a max extension or even a huge extension. I'm going out and getting somebody else.
Which is where an Ivy, like that's where you take a guy like Ivy if you don't think he's can play with Cade, and you really shake it up and you're like, we're going to build around Asar, Ron Holland, Cade. We're going to re-sign Beasley. Obviously, I think they will. Tobias is still here for a year, but he's on an expiring.
Yeah, he can be part of a deal too.
Is Hardaway going to come back on a vet minimum deal to stay with the Pistons? Hometown guy, feels like he likes it. Like I love the like roster manipulation and trying to figure out how it's going to work, because I think, and we'll talk about the Lions next week. It's so similar of like, to get something, you got to give something up. These fans that want everything for like a bag of peanuts, like that shit just doesn't happen. You got to trade good talent to get good talent. And that's where I like being in that position as a franchise, like make your move. It's like we've been saying with the Tigers, like they're going to be in a position probably at this deadline. Like, are you going to make a move to go for it?
And the wings too, same deal. You have assets, you have pieces to move, like shit or get off the pot, right?
Yeah. I love it. I'm watching the Tigers.
They're going to lose.
Tigers just lost 5-0, yeah.
They just lost, yeah.
Did they? They didn't get no hit, though?
No, they did not.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's been fun, though,
Still, Tigers have been great.
Top of the division still, even after that loss.
Yeah. They got a big series coming up against the Royals. That'll be just I think the Royals are going to be their biggest threat in the division. I think Cleveland obviously too, but I think Minnesota's fallen off. I think it's going to be Royals, Tigers, or Cleveland.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
They've been fun to watch. But yeah, so we'll probably do some draft talk next week, probably hopefully earlier in the week. Get some, because draft is a week from this Thursday, which is crazy.
I've never been more tuned out of a Lions draft in my entire life.
I know.
Well, I mean, there's so many other things going on that have been exciting.
Yeah.
But I think obviously we'll also have to talk about Pistons at this point next week.
Sure.
We're going to have 100%. The playoff
Yeah.
games are going to be. What will they be? 2 games in?
Yeah.
I think at this point next week. So
it is funny that we're all big basketball fans, and we get you get us ripping on the Pistons, and we can just go for an hour and 8 minutes on the Stones. And dude, I can give you another hour if you wanted to.
I got so many other things that I planned to talk about that at this point
we didn't even scratch the surface.
No, yeah,
damn it, Wilson! My bold statements took you awry for the things you wanted to comment on.
Your bold statements were fantastic, and the things that I was going to comment on are probably way less thought about by the public,
the average Pistons
public
fan.
Yes,
totally. Can we talk about too, Steve? To your point too, I know we got to wrap, but these Pistons tickets, this is like Field of Dreams. If you build it, he will come. Can Chris Illich see this too for his cheap ass on the Tigers? If you make a team competitive, the fans will pay out the ass to go to these games. Look at the Pistons tickets. It's minimum $300-$400 to sit lower bowl right now at this Pistons game that you couldn't even pay someone to go 2 years ago. It's insane.
As much as I've made fun of Tom Gores rolling out of his tanning bed with his sock, with his cock and sock, he may be turning into the best owner in town. Just the way, like, he's up there. It's him and Sheila Ford right now. Like, this team,
God.
like, he just going back to the fact that he paid Monty Williams to go away. And we're so much better now. We lost Wilson. We lost Kevin Brisher.
The cock and the sock really got me. That really got me. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I know.
That was good.
I know that's not family friendly for some of us here, but that's okay.
But your point is very valid. Like, man, he did what he had to do. He did everything he could do as the owner in that situation. Coming off of a historically terrible year, he was willing to pay that money, get rid of Monty, get a great coach back in, pay some veterans. Like, I don't know. I gotta give him some props.
That's the thing, is it's so much easier to say, let's run it back and let's try again, as opposed to being like, that didn't fucking work, and we need change, and that's on me. Like, just the way he went about it. And yet he's still kind of a bozo. Like, hearing him talk is cringy, right?
Sean
but
C.
yeah, right. Like, you hear him at these pressers and you're like, dude, what on earth is coming out of your face right now? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But
yeah,
he did what needed to be done. He hired the right people, and within months, this team turned around.
He could be the idiot that we love.
Right.
Yeah.
Also,
exactly.
It's so funny when you think, like, man, Gores could be one of the best owners in town. It's like, well, we only have 3 of them. So, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's Gores, Ford, and we can all agree Chris Ilitch sucks. So, like,
yeah, Chris Ilitch is
we're good on that.
Dude.
So, like, it's really just Sheila and Gores at the top here. You know what I mean? Because if Gores finally realized, if I put the right basketball people in place, and he's been hiring, just get out of the way and let them do their shit and give them the resources.
Yeah.
It's the same thing Sheila did. She was involved, but she let them do their thing, and she had faith and trust in the process. That's fucking huge.
I could never own a team, because I would
same
be
here.
The biggest micromanager. I would think that I know better, and I would make terrible calls.
I would be Jerry Jones. I'd be Jerry Jones. Yes. I'd be in there making draft picks.
Yep.
Yeah, it'd be so hard not to.
I'd be calling players' family like, "Hey, you're a Detroit Piston now." They'd be like, "Motherfucker, dude!" Like,
see, I think I'd be like Stephen Cohen for the Mets, who just is like, "I'm just letting it rip. Like, I'm worth billions of dollars. Like, spend whatever the hell we need to spend on to try to get a winner." Like that's what Mike Ilitch did, right? That dude just was like, "I will die with no money if it means we can get a freaking World Series." Like,
dude,
that's.
I would also do that.
Yeah, I would too. All these guys, you could lose. You can't lose enough money as a team owner to like not still be loaded. Like, it's just so funny.
Yeah.
It's not
even
your kids.
If everything goes
broke.
horrible, and it's like you're down to 100 mil.
Like, guess what? You're still like your kids are set up for life.
You're still good,
and your team is appraising like the valuation of these teams has just skyrocketed over the last 10 to 20 years.
$6 billion for the Celtics? Are you nuts?
Yeah.
Did they buy it? Didn't he buy it for like $300 million?
Yeah.
Or something like that? That's insane.
It's nuts. Well,
all right. Well, this was fantastic. It's my dream to get on here and talk for an hour about the Pistons before their playoff run.
Let's go.
Man, I've been waiting so long for this.
Mm-hmm.
So
me too.
Can't wait to watch on Saturday. Can't wait to rehash what happens next week. And thank you once again. Hell yeah.
Let's do it.
Love it, dude. I can't wait for the fucking roof to blow off that place next week.
Can't freaking wait. Yeah. Thanks for listening to another hour and 13 minutes of Take the Points. If you have not already done so, please like the show, share the show, tell somebody you know about it. Comment on Spotify, all the things. We need you guys. But we appreciate you, and we'll see you back here very soon on Take the Points.
A true underdog podcast.